shutdown. Eskom briefing yesterday just sort of spelled out the picture. At the moment, operating below capacity because of the summer maintenance issues, because of the rains, because of the shutdown at Koeberg. What are the implications for all of us, particularly business?
Well, I think let's just look at the numbers just to understand how critical the situation is. Eskom's capacity is about 42,500 megawatts. However, because it's summer, because Koeberg is down, because this is the maintenance period, because coal is wet, there are some constraints. So at the moment, because it's summer, the load in South Africa is relatively low. It's sitting at about 31,000, 32,000 megawatts. So you would think that there was plenty of spare capacity, but unfortunately there's not, because there's about 6,000 megawatts that is down for maintenance, and there's about 4,000 megawatts that is down because of coal problems. So about 10,000 megawatts, 1/4 of Eskom's fleet of power generation is not available right now.
Now, we all know the debacles that ensued at Eskom since 2008, shutdowns in South Africa, all of those kinds of issues around costing, financing new expansion projects. Eskom says that they need about 2,000 megawatts in operating reserves. What does that mean, and how does it help us understand the challenges that Eskom is facing at the moment?
In order to operate without undue risk, one needs a certain amount of reserves that are available to be switched on at a moment's notice. And Eskom basically say that their definition of when the system is running tight is when they don't have about 2,000 megawatts of capacity ready to switch on at a moment's notice. Now, from those figures I've just given you, if you know that we're running at about 31,000 megawatts at the moment, and 10,000 megawatts is down at the moment, that's 41,000, and the total capacity of South Africa is 42,500. It means at the moment we only got about 1,500 megawatts in reserve. So we are running tight at the moment. That doesn't mean to say we're going to have blackouts, but it means that the risk of blackouts exists, and we need to manage those risks very carefully.
They've spoken about safety nets, and at the same time they're focusing very much on the 500 big users, which are big mining houses, aluminium smelters and the like. What are the safety nets and what's needed from these big users?
Well, the way I see it, Eskom has a three-pronged strategy. The first level of action is to encourage users to use electricity efficiently and to switch off things that they don't need to be switched on. And there's a lot that can be done in this regard. Just to give you just one example, you know the power alert thing that they have on TV to warn people when systems are running tight. Well, this system can at a moment's notice deliver something like 700 to 1,500 megawatts of reduced demand at a moment's notice. So provided the people and the population and the country is aware and sensitized to the problem, at a moment's notice, Eskom can reduce the country's load by 700 to 1,500 megawatts simply by asking for it, and it will cost the economy nothing. So this is the first level of defense, you might say. But there are other safety nets already in place. And one of them is called the demand market participation. The demand market participation scheme, effectively what this means is that when Eskom will actually pay you to switch off load, pay large industries to switch off load, and in this way they can deliver another 300 megawatts of reduced demand, and there's the potential to increase this demand market participation to 2,000 megawatts. Again, this of course comes at a cost because Eskom has to pay you to switch off the load.
There's also reference to, and I'm quoting here, mandatory energy conservation schemes where the 500 big users have to limit consumption. Now we're talking about economic recovery, job creation, and here's the potential for big industry to face blackouts.
Indeed, and of course that comes at a severe cost to the economy. So the energy conservation scheme is perhaps the third line of defense. When the other lines of defense are not working adequately or not delivering adequate load reductions, then one goes into mandatory load reductions in terms of the energy conservation scheme, which actually is a penalty system. You penalize customers for using in excess of their notified demand. It comes at a great cost, not only to Eskom, but to the country and to the economy, because the productive economy is being shut down or being forced to
Okay, so
reduce
just answer the
load.
question. Are we going to see big industry facing blackouts this year?
There is a risk of it. The question is, how do you manage that risk? When you are running with reserves of less than 2,000 megawatt, that risk becomes higher and higher. It just takes 1 or 2 or 3 unfortunate incidents that are sometimes unpredictable, and this risk becomes a reality. But I do believe that Eskom is sensitized to the issue. They've learned a lot from the previous problems. They've put in place a 3-line of defense system, and I think that this will work and see us through.
Very briefly, Chris, just speak to us about South Africa's energy security. We heard statements from Eskom to the effect that they can guarantee electricity up until year 2013. But they need us to play ball as well, as you're referring to. We're also going to pay more for electricity, 25% incrementally over the next 3 years. I mean, the estimates are that if we need to service these costs for electricity, it's going to cost industry 2 billion rands per annum, and it may require them to shed about 200,000 jobs. It's counterproductive to the broader goals of this country.
Yes, it's absolutely critical that electricity enables the economy and doesn't hold the economy back. It all depends, I guess, on the strength of the economic recovery. If the recovery occurs quickly and dramatically, we may find that electricity is holding the economy back. And this is a bad position to be in. You talk about the cost of electricity, the rising cost of electricity, and of course this is a serious reality. But I think we have to remind ourselves that the value of electricity to the productive economy is many, many times higher than the cost of electricity. So the price of electricity can increase significantly. It will not slow down on the need for electricity because it's a very valuable resource.